Welcome into today's video, and look, I'm going to be honest. I spend too much time thinking about the Seattle Seahawks injuries. There are things that I could be doing in my personal life. I could be a more attentive son, a better coworker. I could be someone that frankly shows more generosity and more thoughtfulness towards others. But right now, I've been too dialed in, too focused on your Seattle Seahawks, our Seattle Seahawks, and the injuries that this team face. I'm the host of Seahawks Today, Will Ortner, and you can look right now at the injury report from the last game against the Arizona Cardinals, and there is a ton of names on the injury report for the Seahawks. Now, mind you, this came out Friday morning or so this should have been the final injury report. You didn't have Jake Bobo. Christian Haynes is still working his way back from the IR. Josh Jobe was out with a concussion. Dareke Young, at this point in the day, is only out. Tory Horton, there was still hope that maybe you get the kid back. A guy who, by the way, on Wednesday, was a full participant in practice. Ernest Jones, we were kind of at the channel saying you didn't want him to play in this one, but if he did, he did. A.J. Barner and Cooper Kupp, obviously, those guys were questionable. And I thought it was a long injury report. I went out and tweeted and talked about on the channel, hey, that's a big injury report. Are there going to be some issues for the Seattle Seahawks if this is the way the injury report looks? But on the bright side, it probably won't get any worse than this guy. Jarran Reed. For those of you who don't know, I was doing some research, and I heard that, well, he's been dealing with that wrist and thumb injury for quite a while now, and it sounds like he re-aggravated it during practice throughout the week. But here's the weird thing. He was a full participant in practice. At no point did he miss any time until Friday. Then there's a conversation of will he even play. Saturday morning, he gets announced as not going to play in the game. 2 hours later, in the middle of the Oregon-Iowa game, right before the kickoff for UW-Wisconsin, he's not only announced as out for the Cardinals game, he's announced as going on IR with Dareke Young. This team just can't get healthy. This team can't stay healthy. Why are there so many injury issues? Look, I'm not a doctor, but I've visited plenty, and I've been through some football injuries. What does this team need to do to get themselves healthy, get themselves back on the right side of things? I think we're going to dive into that in today's video, and I'm going to give you some reasons why the Seahawks are banged up and what they can do in the future to, well, try and get less banged up, and the guys who are banged up, get them back on the field as healthy as possible. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, though. As soon as the Jarran Reed news broke, I ran out of the drinking establishment that I was in watching my Oregon Ducks find a way to win against the Iowa Hawkeyes, And I filmed both of those videos. I spent time, instead of watching my Ducks, making sure that I got content out for you guys so that you guys were the most in-the-know fans in the NFL. So subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss those breaking news videos. Look, I do want to start off with some good news before we look into the injuries and how do you fix it. As injury-riddled as this team has been, with everyone that has missed time throughout the year, which at this point has basically been most of the important players on your team, save for like Sam Darnold and Kenneth Walker and Jackson Smith and Jigba, you're still the number one team in the NFC West. You got a big matchup this week against the LA Rams, but you are still the best team in the West. So that gives you hope that, hey, the backups that you have rocking with your team, well, they're continuing to improve as they get more and more time, and they are capable backups. But if you're in first place right now, imagine what you could be when you get some of these guys back. This is your injury report, and I'm putting basically the key players on it. Now, Jarran Reed and Dareke Young, they are both on the IR for your squad. It does look like Jake Bobo is going to avoid being on IR. Julian Love on IR as well. There was some talk about Bobo potentially being on IR. Looks like he's going to be in the right spot. Now, the big two worries are the top two guys, Ernest Jones and Jalen Sundell. Jalen Sundell, according to head coach Mike Macdonald, they still had to go through some of the process and procedures of, getting him checked out, going through some testing on what his timetable for return would be. So at the time of this recording, we're not entirely sure where Sundell is going to be. You're going to get a better understanding of will he be able to play on Wednesday or Thursday of this week is my belief. Ernest Jones, I think you might get him back. I'm going to say I think he got a shot at getting him back as I do my best Tony Romo impersonation there. It did sound like, though, from head coach Mike Macdonald on his morning radio show today that he was hopeful and optimistic for Jones to be playing, but he wasn't going to say whether he would or would not play in this game. I think the question that not only am I asking, but a lot of you are asking is, how do the Seahawks become healthy? What does the team need to do for the rest of the year? What do the players need to do for the rest of the year to get this thing back on track health-wise? You've been fine fighting through all of the different injuries, but is there some sort of beet juice that the team can drink? Is there some sort of vanilla extract that maybe they can add into their Starbucks coffee that will keep them healthy and give them the best potential to avoid some of the different injuries that they have been unable to avoid? Maybe some magnesium in the coffee will help them. I have 3 different reasons for the injuries and how your Seahawks are going to be able to fight through them. The first reason is kind of the most no-duh reason of all time. Football's physical. I don't know if you know this, but when you go and physically hit someone, grab someone, try and throw someone to the ground, try and run through someone, it hurts, even if you're the more aggressive person in this situation. Whenever you play football, man, injuries are unavoidable. They're just going to happen. You can do everything perfect. You can get into a perfect form tackle. You can hawk roll, grab through the waist, drive for 5. You can get your hands in the right spot, man, and grab a hold of that defensive lineman, drive them around the way that they need to be. Shoot, you could be running down the field and you just get hit in the right way. Injuries happen. They're unavoidable. Every team has them, man. You go through, shoot. Right now, the Seahawks look like the picture of health compared to the San Francisco 49ers. So some of the reason for the injuries are it's just a part of the game. There's not much you can do about it. Football is a strong, physical, taxing sport, and you're going to deal with crazy injuries from time to time. I'm not oblivious to think that there should be no one on the injury report. There's just nothing that you can do. Sometimes, even in practice, although that does kind of bother me a little bit. There's something about a practice injury that really frustrates me because it always seems to be a little bit avoidable, but that isn't always the case. Another reason that I think the Seahawks have been having a lot of injuries pop up or continue to pop up is a rush back. I think you've seen multiple players this year be on the injured report, try and go in, or actually successfully play in a game, and then miss more time after the fact. The 2 big ones to me are Devin Witherspoon and Julian Love. Devin Witherspoon gets hurt in that first game, week 1, against the San Francisco 49ers. He then misses your game against the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints because you're getting him ready for the Thursday night week 4 action against the Arizona Cardinals in what at the time was a big game. He goes in, plays in that game. What happens? Re-injures his knee, and then he misses every game for you until after the bye week. Julian Love. He ends up getting hurt early on in the season, misses some time before, again, he comes back and tries to play against the Arizona Cardinals. Week 4, plays a little bit, re-injures himself, misses a ton of time. Then after the bye week, you try and bring him back again, and he re-injures himself again. Absolutely ridiculous behavior. Now, I don't blame both players for coming back and playing in week 4. I know the type of player that I would be, and I know the type of player that I would want to be. And that's a player that gets back out on the field as quickly as possible. Shoot, I know plenty of guys, myself included, I'm sure it happens in the NFL, that lie about the pain tolerance that they have. Hey, that injury is more like a 2 to me, when really it's a 6, right? And they're saying what they need to do to get back on the field and do the things that they love. And I got no issue with that. What I have an issue with is lying, or not necessarily lying, but getting yourself back on the field. I think that's the most important thing. Getting yourself back on the field and then missing games after the fact. I want it to be clear. I don't have an issue with both of them trying to get back onto the field. I don't have an issue with the staff giving them a chance to get back out onto the field. Try and see if they can play at a top level. What I have an issue with is the players and the staff not coming together to find the correct plan, right? To keep them off of the injury report. Hey, maybe you play that Thursday game, but then you don't practice for the rest of the week so that way you can play. Now, I'm not completely sold that this is a player issue or a training staff issue. I'm more so saying that I just want to figure out what the issue is and how can we fix it. Nick Eamon missed an extra game that he didn't necessarily need to miss, according to some. And he hasn't missed any games since. He's been 100% the rest of the way. They made him go through a full week of practice before they let him get out on the field. Maybe that's what the Seahawks should have done. I hate seeing Julian Love get ready to go and warm up for a practice, being told, hey, Julian Love's probably going to go. I mean, shoot, I was under the impression that Julian Love, between him and Devin Witherspoon, was the player that was more likely to play after the bye week against the Commanders than Devin Witherspoon. Yet he gets hurt, and he isn't able to go. I'm not faulting anybody here necessarily. It's about working through it. I want players that want to play in the games. 100%. I want a player that's willing to say and do what they need to get out there and play for their guys. What I need is a coaching staff and a training staff to look at the players and really decipher, are they ready to go? It's a little bit on the players for going out, playing, and getting re-injured. It's a little bit on the staff for not knowing, hey, we need to pull the reins back a little bit on these guys. Got to find a way to get this team back 100% healthy and keep guys from getting back on the IR. I know that they're not always controllable, but sometimes these things happen. Do you think players are coming back too soon from injury? I certainly seem to think so. I think that there needs to be a better communication process going through the players and the staff, so that way when a player does come back, he doesn't end up back on the IR or end up in the injury report. I need that player to come back and stay 100% healthy. Let me know in the comments. Do you think players are coming back too soon? Maybe I'm off my rocker. Before I get into the last reason, I want to let you know about this sweet JSN jersey, $40 off, chatsports.com/JSN jersey. This deal is sweet, and it does not last long, so you want to make sure that you jump on it right now. Jackson Smith-Njigba, only wide receiver in the NFL with 1,000 yards, only wide receiver in the NFL with 900 yards as well. You want to have a jersey when he breaks that Calvin Johnson record. Chatsports.com/JSN jersey. Chatsports.com/JSN jersey. Deals like this don't come around often. Chatsports.com JSN jersey. Last reason for injuries sometimes is just dumb luck. Look, maybe that's what happened with Julian Love, and that's why he got re-aggravated on his hamstring injury. Sometimes things happen for players, for teams, for coaches, for anybody, where, hey man, you just stepped off a curb wrong. We've all been there. We've all stepped off a curb and been, oh man, my ankle's messed up now. Now my ankle hurts. I'm really struggling to move. Sometimes you wake up and, man, what'd I do? My back's all stiff. Now I can't bend over. It hurts to move. My neck's stiff. It hurts to look to side. Sometimes a player rolls into another one's leg. How are you going to control that? How is it your fault as a Jalen Sundell that one of your offensive linemen went out and mollywopped a Cardinals player and they fell into you? It's not your fault. Seattle's just had a ton of these dumb luck injuries. Ernest Jones' injury is the big one to me. Dude falls into the back of his knee and that's what tweaks it. What is Ernest Jones supposed to do about that? Nothing. There's nothing you can control there. It feels like teams get these dumb luck injuries, but for Seattle, it's exacerbated. Or at the very least, they're getting all their dumb luck injuries right now. They're happening right here, right now. And then hopefully they won't have any more the rest of the way. Because you really can't control someone falling into you, into your ankle, into your knee, into your arm, whatever, right? Getting sandwiched. Injuries happen for a variety of reasons. And some of them are just, you just got bad luck that day. And the injury happened to fall, unfortunately, against you. Here are my reasons for the injuries. I think that football is physical. There's nothing really you can do with that other than at the end of the year right now, maybe call off on some of the physical practices. What I mean by that is not every session needs to be live, and you've seen Mike Macdonald already start to do that. Last Wednesday practice, there wasn't any hitting going on. It was basically a walkthrough type of practice. I think you're going to see more and more of those continue to happen. I think it's very smart by Mike Macdonald, the coaching staff, to do that. I think that with the dumb luck stuff, not much you can do other than, the old cliches, don't stand around a pile waiting to get seen, waiting to get hit. If there's a pile around, try and stay as far away from it as you can. And the old O-line saying, if you feel someone start to fall into you, fall with it. Don't fight against it. Rushing back to play. That's my biggest worry right now. And it's a worry that as a player, I would totally abuse that worry. I would rush myself back to play as soon as possible. But I also understand that I am wrong. This is a do what I say, not as I do type of situation. We got to find a way to keep the guys healthy and not have guys go from playing in one game to right back onto the injury report after it. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I want to say thank you to everyone who helped us get to 75K. We're now marching on to 76K and even further and beyond. We're taking this channel to the moon. So make sure that you subscribe for daily Seahawks content. Thank you guys for tuning in.